All right, welcome to the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270, broadcasting live from the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck. The Bismarck Bobcats Coaches Show coming to you after the first week of the regular season is over. The Bobcats have come back from the league showcase in Minnesota and ready up for the Aberdeen Wings. Games 1 and 2 of divisional play on Friday and Saturday night in South Dakota. 7:15 start times on Super Talk 1270 for both games. Layne Sedevie joining us on the program as always, 13th year Bobcat head coach. How's your fantasy team going so far through 2 weeks?
Which one?
Football?
I have three of them.
You have three. Are any of them doing well?
One's not doing very good, and the one that I want it to do well, but the other two are. So, the one with the team's doing well. So, yeah, it's kind of the only way I get into football. I don't have a football team, so I like fantasy football. It's been actually something I enjoyed. I tried fantasy hockey. Just too many players, too much stuff going on, too many games. And I know everyone says you can auto-set your lineup, but I don't know. I just couldn't really get into it. So I like fantasy football. It's a lot of fun.
Not even NDSU football. No football at all.
Nope. I watch my guys in fantasy football, and that's it. So, yeah, I don't know. Just I guess I think it's amazing what NDSU did. But, yeah, just don't really tune into much football unless my fantasy guys are playing.
So which team do you want to win the most? Which fantasy team?
Well, the one that's the most amount that you have to that the buy-in is.
Well, which one is that?
The one that Rother puts on. It's a $100 buy-in. So, but I'm 0-2. So I think I finished last in that league probably 5 years in a row. So. I would say it's the fantasy gurus of Bismarck, North Dakota, and now Lauren and Garrett in Oklahoma City. But man, they're just like they remind me of like pool sharks. It's like you can't even get a waiver claim. You can't do anything. It's like if you don't sleep with that thing in your hand, you don't have a chance. And I will say I've had I think the first or second round pick and. Have picked David Johnson, and he got hurt 3 years ago, and that was the first overall, and just have had some bad luck. So I'll blame it on injuries, because we're in a non-PPR league, and it's hard to score points in that league. So you got to have good running backs, and I've had some bad injuries to my running backs.
How do you suppose Garrett Roth has time to coach his team with all the fantasy sharking going on?
I don't know, but he's good at it. So's his wife. I think she's won it maybe once or twice. So I don't know if Garrett's actually won it, but I think Lauren has, and maybe she just feeds him the information because it's probably like household, split the money. You know what I mean? I mean, half is it's how it works when you're married. So if one team's doing well, you get split the money.
Have you ever played a league where the loser has a punishment?
Nope. I've seen quite a few, things on, Instagram and stuff like that. A lot of guys have to dress up golfing or something like that, but I've never done that. And Laz plays in a league where it's a money league, so you have $200 to build your roster, and it's a keeper league. And he actually drafted at my house this year. To me, it was very interesting. I mean, it was some players are going for $70, and then how do you build the rest of your roster if you take McCaffrey for that, or anybody? I mean, Patrick Mahomes or Allen, or and I think he had Pittman. I think he had Pittman Jr. for $1 last year, and he absolutely went off. So then he gets to keep him for $1, which is I just thought it was interesting. Never seen it done that way.
Well, fantasy talk aside, the hockey's real, and the Bobcats at the showcase went 0-3-1, second straight year with no wins in the showcase. But, of course, the Bobcats are pretty successful down the road in those years. I was listening to Steve Jennings' podcast for the Aberdeen Wings earlier on Monday, and he brought up this point. Pretty much every team that comes back from the showcase sees they have holes that need to be filled, and you and the Bobcats are no different. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that's why I don't put a lot of value into the showcase. I mean, it's great for our guys. I mean, the event is fantastic. It's just it's hard. I mean, you're trying to figure out what you have in your own personnel, and the crappy part is the points matter. The good news is though we got a point.
You did get a point. That's an improvement from last year.
COVID year we really struggled. We didn't get any points at that showcase, but it's I don't know, just been a kind of a black cloud over us for quite a few years. I mean, Byron Poole went to the showcase 3 years. No pun, but he never won a game, and they ended up winning the national championship. So I just don't put a lot of value in it. I mean, you're trying to figure out what you have for your lineup, and then what changes you need to make. I mean, that's the biggest part of one is having protected players that maybe fall down to you, and then two, just making sure that Nico does a fantastic job of finding free agents, and that's all part of the game.
So what's your takeaway then from the 4 games? Although you can't take too much, what's your takeaway?
I mean, I liked actually 3 of our 4 games. I mean, the one game I don't even know if we showed up, but the other 3 I actually thought we probably should have won, and just for some reason couldn't find the back of the net. And I think that's where, I think it's one of those things where we got to find guys that can score goals, and guys to step up and emerge into those roles that, when you look at our roster last year, I mean, we lost a lot of goals. I mean, Ryan Taylor, Ruddy, Trombley, Brady Egan, Owen Michaels, Jake McLean. I mean, a lot of guys up front that put a lot of pucks in the back of the net. So you're looking for new guys to step up, and our veterans that we do have back to contribute in a way maybe they didn't the previous year, that they have to step up.
With 12 returners coming back, Layne, which is obviously a huge amount, usually having a lot of returners indicates a team that should be successful. But do you feel like it's too early to see if these guys could be plateauing a bit, not being able to step up to the way you need them to?
Well, I mean, that's just it. You got to have the right returners, right? So that's where it's kind of the assessment period. I mean, trying to figure out what we have as a group, and it's the crappy part about junior hockey is some may go and some are going to stay, and that's where to me it's the showcase is more of an eval period, and you're trying to build your hockey team for the next 7 months, and it's one of those things where I think we have a lot of nice players back, but those players, they need to make that jump and they need to step up, and to me that's just where our team is at right now. I mean, I feel like in 3 of the 4 games we outchanced them dramatically, but couldn't find the back of the net, and that's a problem. So we will see what happens going into this weekend, and moving forward.
What can lead to guys having the $1 million move 10-cent finish, not being able to put the puck in the back of the net despite all the work being done?
I just watched 22. He scores goals.
He does.
He's
Half our goals have been Virta Jantinen's, 4 out of the 8.
Yeah, he can score. He's a goal scorer. So, it's just one of those things. I mean, whether it's confidence or whatever it is. I mean, you look at what Ruddy did last year, and Ruddy, I don't know if he had 2 points in his first 20 games, but he found it, and he figured it out. So, I think that's up to those guys in that locker room and those veteran guys to really step up. And I mean, at the end of the day, you're leaning on your veterans right now, more so than anything. So, I feel like we're getting good chances. Out grade A-ing the other team, just not scoring goals.
You've scored the first goal in the first 4 games this season. Last year, that meant a 75% points percentage, but you lost all 4 games so far in the showcase despite having the 1-0 lead. Is that an issue of stamina? What is that, allowing teams to come back against you guys late?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the one thing I said after game 4 at the showcase. I mean, we had a lead in all 4 games, and to me, it's just one of those things where this group has to learn how to play with the lead. I felt like we were kind of in the same mode as last year early on. We shot ourselves in the foot, big mistakes, 2-on-1s, breakaways, and just allowed teams back in the game. Now, I will say against Oklahoma City, it was our next shift, and they scored right away. I mean, we had the momentum. We scored on the power play just like you scripted up. Good start, and next shift, we give up a goal. And, it's the biggest shift in the game. And, you hear that from every coach I played for. First shift, last shift, never want to give up a goal in the first or last 2 minutes. And the shift after you score a goal is a huge shift to keep momentum, and we just didn't do that. So I think it's one of those things where this team is experiencing, some growing pains with playing with the lead, and that's something that the good news is we had the lead. Got to find a way to keep it.
Did you expect those growing pains with a veteran group?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I just think when you look at our group, there's a lot of guys that were, kind of middle of the road for us last year, and like I said, those key contributors, those big-time guys are no longer with us. So that's, to me, where I think this group is still finding their identity and figuring out, how to win, what they are, and to me, really, who's going to emerge. I mean, that's the big question for us as a coaching staff.
So, speaking of the Oklahoma City game, that was the one really dark spot of the showcase. Garrett Roth 7, Layne Sedevie 2. Did you buy the beer?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
But you said before the game, first round's going to be on the loser.
Yep.
That's a broken promise.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Why not?
I drank a lot of beer.
Oh, he didn't?
I didn't see him.
Okay.
I held up my part. Trust me. After that, whew, I don't think there was enough beer in St. Paul or the surrounding cities to oof, that was a tough one.
He's got a pretty good team though down there.
He does. Yeah. But I mean, if you stand around, and I don't care who we would have played, we would have got embarrassed by any team at that showcase. It doesn't matter. I think that's the part where we get players from all over the world and played in all sorts of leagues, and if you don't want to work, you're going to get a real nice slice of humble pie real fast, because this league is just it's too good, and if you don't show up on any given night, you're not going to have success.
Is this first week potentially a good example of losing being beneficial for a team?
Well, I mean, I think there's always positives to take out of it too. I mean, I don't think it's where you can just sit there and be. I mean, I could have sat here all last year for almost 5 months and said, I could have been negative all the time, and it was tough. So, I think you take the positives. You look at what you need to improve on, and at the end of the day, you got to get better.
Verti Jantunen, Layne, 4 goals out of your 8, 3 power play goals in 3 straight games. That score on the power play, seems like you finally have him. What's impressed you so far?
Hey, he's a goal scorer. I mean, that's what he is. I mean, he's got good vision. He's got a good brain, but he can flat out shoot it. And talking with schools, and I think that's something that is very intriguing to schools. Is a guy that when he gets an opportunity, he can find the back of the net, and I think he's proven that. I think he's. I want to say every game he's played for us in, he's scored in, even exhibition, and
pretty close, yeah.
So to me, that's if you told me if one guy got a puck in the right area, I'd have a lot of confidence in him shooting that puck.
Do you like having him on the off wing?
On his one-timer?
Yeah. Absolutely. It seems like that wasn't a play you guys set up a lot last year.
Well, we got to have a guy to shoot the puck. And once we got Ryan Taylor back, I mean, that was that cross seam that, Taylor scored quite a few goals that were pretty nice from Macker. And but you got to have that guy with the trigger over there. I mean, that guy's got to be a threat. And now, teams are going to have to honor that. And then hopefully we can move it around and other guys on that unit can have success. I mean, that's the whole key. I mean, it's funny, we were joking about, but there's only one guy in the world that can stand in one area and score goals.
It's Alex Ovechkin.
That's right. In any league. One guy. So, it's everybody knows. I mean, it's everybody knows where the puck's going, and he just keeps scoring. But that is the elite of the elite. And, I think that's where, Verte's going to have to do a good job of dispersing pucks and get it to Nui and, get it to the other side. And we're going to have to work it over there. And then hopefully maybe they fall asleep and get it back to him. You know what I mean? So just got to have good, headsy plays. I mean, that's why you're on the power play. You're on the power play to execute and score big goals.
It seemed like that power play line, your first line with Verti and Neumeyer, of course, running the point, as you said, was out there for 90 seconds, if not the entire 2 minutes, every shift they were out, which is a departure from last year where time was pretty split.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still trying to find our identity on our second unit. I mean, that's the unit that's scoring, and I have confidence in that. So, it's especially it's really hard early in the year. I mean, you look at the first game, and we had 5 consecutive, and even against the Wilderness, we score on our first power play, and then we can't score again. And we actually had good chances. We just couldn't find the back of the net. But it's one of those things where you're obviously you want to win games and you want to put your best personnel out there. So I think we're going to make some changes and see what we can do, because you need 2 power play units. I mean, that's the key. I feel like when your so-called power play number 2 is pushing number 1, it just makes for good competitive nature, and a lot of success can happen that way.
Bobcat head coach Layne Sedevie. Bobcats getting set for the Aberdeen Wings this weekend on the road. Home opener Saturday, October 1st, 7:15 against Minot, as it was last year. We've got 2 players here, both from Texas, on the show, Sam Blanton and Julian Beaumont, coming up following you here. Only the 10th and 11th Texans on your team all time in 25-plus years, and both of them combined for a goal back in the showcase.
Yep.
What do you like about them?
Well, I think they're they're good players, and I go back to the 2 guys that really stick out for me is Solig Bakic and Nick Alexander, 2 guys that came to our this is back when we had solo pre-draft camps, and they came to our pre-draft camps and were so good, and we took both of them, really great players. And, Nick kind of hung them up early, and Solig went on to play at Notre Dame. But I see some of the resemblance in those guys that I see in these 2. I mean, they're different in the respects of probably size, but was able to watch Julian at Fargo's camp, and we got him halfway through the showcase. But Sammy's been with us for the duration of our training camp and through exhibition, and to me, that's where you look at our showcase, and we're trying to figure out where guys fit and identify our personnel and put guys in different spots. And I dressed Sammy as the 13th forward on Friday, and we went down 3-1, and he only had 2 shifts, and I just kind of said, well, we're going to put the band back together, because the 2 of them played together in AAA and were probably the best line in AAA hockey. So put them back together. I think they had 7 shifts, and I think they had 7 or 8 scoring chances, none against, and combined for a really nice play and got us back into that game. So I think both of them are going to be really nice players for us, and both of them were great tenders by Nico.
How far back had that been in your mind, having the 2 Texans on the same line together?
Well, the night before when we drank about 74 beers, Nico said we need to try Blantz, and we need to put him with maybe put him with Julian, because they were extremely dynamic at that level, and we're talking not just a few points, we're talking a lot of points, so that's kind of where it stemmed from, and we knew that when we tendered him too. I mean, that's one of the things where Nico, I think it was not our main focus, but we had known that they have had success together. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I got my brother watches a lot, and he's like, it's like these kids have played together. Their whole they knew where they were on the ice. They knew when someone was here, and I said, well, Lance, they played together in AAA, and they were one of the best lines. And he's like, oh, makes sense now, So, I just it's one of those things where if you don't try it, you almost feel dumb, and so that's that's why once it went 3-1, I just said, hey, we're going to try something. We can't score. We're struggling to score, so let's try something. And I mean, a really nice pass after they scored the goal and had Julian on the backside, almost tied it up. So, I thought they were good against the Wilderness too. I mean, they just, with Verte there, they possessed pucks and made a lot of plays. So to me, that's what we need. We need those guys to, and they're younger guys, but and if our younger guys step up, I think, hopefully our vets can figure it out sooner than later, and then you have a good group.
Well, this time of the year is USHL cut date time. 25-man rosters coming in on Monday in the USHL. Julian's the only guy you've gotten back so far from the USHL from Fargo. What can this time of the year mean, getting guys like Owen Michaels, Ryan Taylor back last year? What can this time of the year mean for your roster?
Well, I think it changes almost daily, and hopefully you do get some of those pieces back. I mean, it's just it's a waiting game. It's probably the hardest part about it. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know what that certain team likes, or if the player goes up there and plays extremely well. I mean, it's one of those things where really you're just sitting back and if you get a call, you get a call. If you don't, you don't. But there's a lot of movement. I think when you really think about like our showcase, and I would say probably almost a line, if not a line and a half from almost every team, probably isn't going to be there in 2 weeks, and that's just the movement and the unfortunate part, I would say, really about the timing of our showcase, which is tough. I mean, we had Julian come in, day 2. It's just I wish the showcase was at a different time. It is the best event, really, in junior hockey, but your roster changes so much in really a 2-week period, and it's one of those things where players come and players go.
I was going to ask you, would you want it to be a mid-season event?
100%. Ain't even a question. You have your full roster, you have your team, everybody's in their full swing. It would have to be around the Christmas time when colleges are off and they could still come, which is the main focus for obviously the event and getting our players seen. But yeah, 100%. I don't even think it's cut and dry.
How many old friends? I saw Hendy, obviously Byron at the showcase. How many old friends did you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the part where you really enjoy it. It's just seeing my own coaches that coach me and old friends and guys that you don't see very often throughout the course of the year. I think that's probably what the showcase has evolved. I guess for me, for doing this as long as I have, it's nice to see those guys and really catch up. And it's so much in 4 days. I mean, I tell you what, I felt like yesterday. My wife's like, geez, you're going to bed at 8:30. It's like I don't even play a game and I'm spent. So I just can't imagine what our guys go through in 4 and 4. So, but again, it is a great event and it is nice to catch up with all the riffraff that's still in surrounded by junior hockey.
Do you spend more time coaching or networking?
I mean, I think it's probably more networking, right? I mean, it's that's where I felt so out of place in probably my first 3 or 4 years. Just not knowing anybody, and it's it's an intimidating position. I mean, let's face it. I mean, there's no secret. You see the logos on the jacket, and like you're a new guy, and it's like, well, okay, everybody's like, well, go talk to this guy, and it's like, well, when you're new, it's one of those things where it's, and I would say I'm a fairly outgoing guy and a guy that likes to chat, and but it's intimidating. And it's so much different now. I mean, guys come up and talk to me, and it's just I would say it's very different that way. And it's one of those things where I'm definitely thankful that it is the way it is now. And I can pick up the phone and call really any school, and we have a relationship, which is something that has taken time. It really has.
It is the absolute wrong time to wear a quarter zip of any college school if you're not actually a scout, because people will come up and talk to you.
Or you do it to get the attention. I mean, it could
Right.
be could you imagine? I mean, I think when I'm just going to go there with every different day I'm going to wear an NHL logo and just, could you imagine? I mean, you could play the role of
Oh my gosh.
nearly anybody. And people would talk to you left and right. I mean, it's like my mom's like, I talked to this school. I'm like, Mom, like, oh, they're standing next to me. So I started talking to them. Like, it's crazy. It's one of those things where, and this is going to sound really goofy, but it's the part I love about racing and dirt track racing, because you can walk down the pits and you can stand next to Tony Stewart. And now, when you say racing, Tony Stewart's a huge name. And you can't do that really anywhere else. You can't do that in NASCAR. You don't get down there unless you spend a ton of money. But in dirt track racing, after the races, you go see the who's of who's that are down there. And you can you can literally walk up and go, hey, man, how's it going? That's where the showcase is pretty cool. I mean, I can't tell you the stories of, my mom loves to go to that event, and she talks to all these schools. And it's one of the rare things where, the fan interaction, the parent interaction with schools and different people that are, I mean, let's face it, I mean, really well connected in this game. We're talking NHL scouts. We're talking every major college hockey scout is in that building. So I think it's, I told Mark this too, down in the lobby. I just said, Mark, I don't know where you've seen this going 20 years ago, but the event itself is really grown to be something that I don't think anybody can mimic. I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, you heard about these other leagues coming in, and I just told him, I said, good luck. I mean, the North American Hockey League they've established themselves, and they've done a fantastic job.
Mark Frankenfeld, the commissioner, who also sets his ego aside at the door. I mean, if you have an ego in that showcase, you'll be showing up pretty quickly with how many other schools are there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's one that's what I mean. That's the intimidating part. I mean, that's I mean, you're new to it, but you're not, and it is. I mean, I tell you what, I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago. I walked in and I walked up the stairs, and obviously everybody knows I'm a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. The guy's standing right there, and one of my best friends is talking to him. So I talked to him. He's like, "Hey, this is with Pitt." I was just like, I don't even know if I said a word. I mean, it's if you're a hockey fan, it's just all around. It's an awesome event.
All right, Layne Sedevie, Bobcat head coach. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, Texan Connection coming up in just a moment on the Bobcat Coaches Show. All right, back live at the Tap-In Tavern on Super Talk 1270, the Bobcat Coaches Show. Sam Blanton joins us, Bobcat forward from Carrollton, Texas. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Well, Sammy, it's your first year here as a Bobcat. I'm assuming first Coaches Show ever for you?
It is. It is.
How you feeling right now?
It was good. Ready to chat with you a little bit?
For sure. What's your initial impression about a month into your time here in Bismarck?
It's been good. It's been a adjustment first time living away from home, but it's a good city, fun team. Guys are awesome, so I'm loving it so far.
What's the adjustment been like as, an 18-year-old coming here?
Yeah, it's been weird having so much freedom. Don't have school anymore. Parents, kind of living on my own in a sense. It's been a strange adjustment, but doing my best, living each day to the fullest, I feel like.
What do you think your parents will think when they hear this, having so much freedom?
Well, they just probably hope I'm doing the most with it, making good decisions, but I feel like I've done good for myself so far.
So what's it like, finally going off? You knew you were going to be a Bobcat for a while now. We've talked to you in the fall of last year pretty much. You knew you were coming here for a while. Now that you're actually here, moving to a new city, living with a billet family, what's the whole experience been like so far?
It's been good. Good billet family, awesome kids. It's been different than what I expected. It's a grind. It's demanding. Every day is put in the work and go from there every day. Every day, day by day. But it's been good so far. Nothing's going wrong. So having a good time.
So when you finally got in your first game action at the showcase last week, new speed of a new game, what were your thoughts on finally being in there?
Yeah, it was an adjustment. It's faster, more physical, but it's fun hockey. It's fun hockey. Good group of guys. Everyone supports each other on the bench. Everyone's rooting for each other, so it's a fun game. Super competitive. So I'm looking forward to this season.
How much faster is it?
It's a couple steps quicker. Coming from AAA last year, it isn't the fastest, but everyone plays with that speed that the top guys play with at AAA, so it's a bit of an adjustment.
I know we've talked about this before, but growing up in Texas, spending your entire life there up until this hockey season, you've seen hockey in Texas really grow. What was it like when you first started out, and what's it like now?
Yeah, when I first started out, there was only a couple programs. The Stars were a little bit involved, but it was more get yourself involved with hockey. And now, over the years, the Stars have gotten way more involved. They put out new programs where you can try hockey for free or learn to skate or things like that. And I worked at the rink this summer and helped put on those programs, so I've seen what it's like firsthand and the growth it's had since I was first there. And it's awesome. It's really good for the community, hockey community in specific.
How many guys who are from Texas, like, Solak Bakic was a Bobcat, or, Seth Jones, Stefan Nason, all those guys, how many of them come back to the rinks in Dallas?
Yeah, I saw the Joneses a couple times over the summer. We got a good group of guys that we skate with, or we skated with this summer. A lot of the college, pro guys, overseas guys, juniors guys. So a lot of them come back to Dallas in the summer to train. It's where they're from. It's where they spend their time when they're not in season. So it's awesome to see them all around the rink.
What are your thoughts on your Cowboys so far?
Well, Cooper Rush saved us last week, but not a good week one, but had a good bounce back weekend. Looking to build on that.
You a big Cowboy fan?
Huge.
How big is, well, it's a dumb question, but for those who are here in Bismarck might not know, how much bigger is football compared to hockey in Texas?
Yeah, especially high school football. It's everyone's plans on Friday night. Town pretty much shuts down from about 7 to 10 because everyone's watching their high school team play football. But yeah, it's like one of the biggest parts of the community is football. Everything revolves around football in Texas, so it's neat.
Well, I'll say this, Fridays at 7 o'clock, Saturdays at 7 o'clock are kind of the same in some of these cities we play at here.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Have you heard about or watched any Bobcat games and just seen and heard the crowds that come to our games?
I'd never watched a game in full before, but I've watched highlights and stuff, and especially from the end of the year last year, and I saw those crowds and looked awesome. Looked like the fans would get really into it, so can't wait to play in our first home game.
Have you had games in front of large crowds?
Not really, no. Just parents.
Just parents?
Parents. Anyone who came to support someone they knew, never fans of the team or anything, so looking forward to it.
Well, this weekend in Aberdeen, they've always got a hostile crowd, and that's 1,000-plus people rooting up against you. Do you feel like you're going to like that too?
I don't mind it. Gotta keep my mind in the game, though. That's something that might take me out of the game, but I think it'll be awesome. a whole different aspect of it, playing against the crowd than playing with the crowd. So it'll be a fun moment. I've never done it before, so I'm looking forward to it.
Have to ask you about playing with your line mate, Julian Beaumont,
Yep.
Texas connection. When you finally got in there, he's waiting your answer. Finally got in there last Friday, and you set him up from behind the goal. You score on one of your very first shifts with him on the first line there, getting that big first goal out of the way, big first moment of junior hockey with a guy you grew up playing with. What's that like?
It's awesome. Played with Julian 7 years, almost in a row. 7 out of the 9 years I've played travel hockey have been with Julian, so I've known him for a long time. Really started playing together 16 U year, so we had some good moments that year. So it wasn't the first time we've hooked up for a goal like that, but it was awesome to do it at the next level and fun to get the first goal together. So it was a fun moment.
Layne was giving you and Julian some high praise about being line mates before, setting each other up. Was it just like old times again?
Felt just like it. It's a good line mate to have on the other side of the wing.
How much recruiting did you do when he was up to find a team and you had already picked the Bobcats?
I was pushing him. I was like, Bismarck's great spot. Live together, hopefully, and play together. Keep the connection we have alive. So I love that he made the decision to come with me here, and we did end up getting to live together, which is awesome.
Is he a good roommate so far?
He's a good roommate. Sometimes his navigation skills when we're driving aren't the best, but he's a good roommate.
All right. Well, look, are you going to take the reins at least and drive once in a while if yours are already better?
We drive every other day. We got a
Okay.
rotation going. So, yeah, I'm way better driver than him.
All right. Well, I'll ask him that same question next time. But
Perfect.
Sam Blanton, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Julian Beaumont coming up next on the Bobcat Coaches Show. All right, back on the Bobcat Coaches Show from the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck. Well, we had one Texan on, Sam Blanton. Now Julian Beaumont the other. Coming up. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I'll give you the immediate chance to respond. You're a bad navigator. What do you say to that?
No, I completely disagree. I'm a little new here. I'm trying to get my way around, and so I don't really have the direction. So I think the driving is on him. He's not a very good backseat or passenger navigator. So I say the blame's on him.
How far away are you from the rink?
About 15 minutes. Yeah, about 15. Yeah,
So far enough where you could get lost along the way.
exactly. And if you don't have a good navigator, it messes the whole thing up. So I like I said, I think it's on him.
Do you think he'll be able to handle the snow all right?
I don't know. I mean, coming from Texas, you don't get much snow, so it'll probably be a little tough winter for both of us, driving and you guys get minus 20 degrees,
Something like that, yeah.
we don't even get into the zeros or anything like that. Yeah, we're basically the 20th is the coldest we'll get in Texas. So
When was your last snow in Texas?
probably last year of 2021 when we had that. It was actually a decent amount. We got close to 6 or 8 inches. That's one in 100 years probably in Texas that you get, but we actually got a lot, and it was nice because it kind of closed everything down for about 2 weeks. So
2 weeks?
yeah, yeah,
We're still having school with 6 inches here.
yeah, I know, that's how unprepared Texas is for that type of snow.
So you and Sam are same but different, both from Texas now, but he's the thoroughbred Texan, and your parents are both from northern Canada.
Yeah, they are. Mom's from New Brunswick and dad's from Alberta, so I would say that's probably where we got the hockey from, down in Texas. So yep.
What's it like then, being a Texan but having parents who very much are not Texan?
Yeah, it's a little different. Everywhere I go when I travel outside of Texas, like, you don't sound like you're from Texas, and I don't have that accent as many Texans do, as because family's from Canada. So, and the culture's a little different. I mean, we're obviously football fans. You live in Texas, you become football fans, but probably not as diehard as some of the other Texans that live around. So yeah.
So your path to come to Bismarck was interesting, at least over the past week. You've been a pretty well-traveled man over the past week. Only guy with more miles is your dad, probably.
Probably.
How many miles he's flown, but you're in Fargo about a week ago today. You find out when the cut day comes, you're not going to be able to make the 25-man. So your coaches let you go early, let you play in the showcase. You hop a flight within the day to go from Fargo to Minneapolis and play in the showcase. What was that whole day or really 24-hour period like for you?
It was kind of tough. I mean, it's the USHL. It's a great league, and every kid usually wants to play that wants to go to college. So it's kind of tough being cut from there, but it was a lot to take in. But I kind of knew that I had to, if I was going to play well in the showcase, I had to shift my mind real quick. No time to dwell on it, and just take this as kind of a learning lesson, get me to push me harder to take that next step and make sure that, that it doesn't happen next year if that's a possibility. So yeah.
How did you get your mind off it so quick?
Well, I knew, going to Blaine, that I was going to play for a really good team for Bismarck. I mean, I had a friend, that I've known for 9 years there to kind of help me out there, and I also had support from my family, and it just kind of helped me take my mind off it and just get me ready to play the games in Blaine. So yeah.
How much of a debrief did you have with Layne Sedevie, Hunter Laslo, maybe Sammy over there about the systems and what we do here in Bismarck before that game?
Yeah, I probably sat down I went talked to Sam for about an hour to kind of ran me through kind of what Bismarck's like, how the team plays, and then kind of before the game for about 30 minutes, 15 minutes. They kind of ran me through all the game plans and what Bismarck tries to do and just everything, so I was ready for the game.
When you took your first shift with Sam, who was not on your line to begin the game last Friday, what'd you think?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, kind of brought me back to, as you said, our 16U year where we really started playing together a lot. And, I was just really excited to play with him because, he's a great player, and he and I kind of just see each other on the ice and read each other real well and are able to make plays. So I knew once I got him out there, hopefully our offense was going to start doing my offense was going to be a little better because we just know where each other are, and, kind of showed. So it was awesome. I was really excited.
Then he sets you up from behind the net to get your first goal in your first game, his first point in his first game. When you got into that huddle before the flyby to the bench, did you say anything to him?
Yeah. I was just told him how great the pass was, and I was just like, this feels like how it was a couple years ago. It just kind of brings you back. I was really, really happy, and just made sure to tell him how great a pass that was. So yeah.
What do you think the whole Texan connection could not only mean to Texas, but do for you guys and the Bobcats on the ice?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of could help out Texas, showing that. I mean, with hockey, it's growing in Texas, but not big as other states. But showing that kids can play at that next level, and it's kind of awesome to see that, how there's many kids playing at that next level. But also, I think it could help out Bismarck, help put some more pucks in the back of the net, win some games, and maybe create something special with that Texas connection up here. So yeah.
Is this the first of many to come, you think?
I think so, yeah. I think we got a lot more in us. So, yep.
All right, we'll find out Friday night in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Julian Beaumont, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. All right, Hunter Laslo wraps up the Coaches Show in a moment on Super Talk 1270. All right, back on the Bobcat Coaches Show. Hunter Laslo wrapped things up. Bobcat assistant coach joining us for the final 10 minutes or so. How are you?
I'm good, Corey. How are you?
Not too bad. Have you been thinking like a warrior today?
Why do you say that?
Because of the book on your desk.
That was a I believe a purchase from Tom. There was no name on the package, so I'm assuming it was from Tom. He's known to send me a book from time to time, so that one showed up on the desk. But no, I haven't looked at it yet.
Have you at least thought like a warrior today? I know you went on a long run.
Yeah, I gotta have that mindset when you run 21 miles. So something like that, I'll say.
All right. Well, 0-3-1 at the showcase for you. That's obviously the hard stuff to talk about, but there's plenty of optimism to go around. You score the first goal in 4 of the games. You outplay the other team, except don't outscore them in 3 of the 4 games. I know it's hard to take a lot away that's meaningful from the showcase, but what do you take away?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not getting the results we had hoped for, but there's a lot of positive stuff we can take out of it. I mean, it's obviously beneficial for Layne and I to be able to see combinations over 4 games in 4 days. It's a lot. It's hard on the kids. It's a long couple of days, not only for them but for the staff as well, with all that the event kind of has going for it. But the good thing was that our power play looked pretty good. Verity obviously is a special piece to that, and obviously having 4 and 4 was positive to see that we're going to get some goal scoring from him this year. That's for sure. He can shoot the puck, and his vision is elite. But I think the worst part is just giving up leads. I think we outplayed, other than the Oklahoma game where we just got worked. We didn't even show up, and kudos to Roth and his squad, who was played very, very complete. They're a fast-paced, skilled team, and made us look like nothing. But other than that game, I did think we competed really hard. It just made some big mistakes, costly mistakes, and weren't able to create space. Like in the first game, have 5 back-to-back power plays, not be able to capitalize and create any distance, and then you give up a 2-on-0, which is just kind of a momentum killer when all the momentum was in our favor. And giving that up, it just changes the game a little bit, and then weren't able to find a way to come back and create some distance. But that's kind of how it goes. And I think the biggest thing was though we got to see who can play and who can't. Obviously, we're making some changes right now to obviously improve our team, and without the showcase at the time of year that it is, I think it's hard to really fully analyze your roster, especially when it's earlier in the year and there's a whole lot of movement between other leagues, and everyone obviously trying to find out who they're going to stick with for the year. So definitely some benefits out of an overall disappointing weekend.
I don't think I've seen you more upset about losses than the last 2 games of that showcase as a fly comes over our screen here. But I don't think I've seen you as upset about a loss as you were for the last couple games of that showcase. You were exhausted after 4 and 4, 4 games in 4 days. But how do you turn the page here?
I think you just reset. It's like I said, it's a lot. That event is awesome, but it's a lot for the kids, a lot of pressure with everyone that's in the building and watching, and after games when you get a line of scouts outside your locker room, it can be overwhelming. But now we get back to in-division play, right? We haven't seen, other than in preseason, Minot and Aberdeen, but haven't been able to get any competition in our division yet. So I know we're really looking forward to obviously getting back to the next 56 games that are in division, and obviously starting that off this weekend against Aberdeen should be really good. And I think you come back, you obviously analyze and assess what happened over the course of the showcase. You make adjustments and you move forward from it. So that's kind of what we've done this week and as we head into Aberdeen.
How was the USHL cut date getting guys like Julian Beaumont back? Not a heavy haul like it was last year, but getting Julian Beaumont back, maybe getting a few more pieces back. How is that going to help the Bobcats?
Yeah, it helps tremendously, right? And it can happen. It doesn't always happen this early necessarily, but obviously we're excited to have Julian. I know obviously any kid that gets cut from the USHL is never happy, but we're definitely pumped to have him. He's a good player, competes really hard, and has got quite a bit of skill. So yeah, we're fortunate to get players like that, and you never know who else can come in from that. I mean, obviously we have guys that are still out there from last year's roster that obviously we'd like to have back, but hope that they have success at that level, right? I think if you can play at the USHL level and get reps and being put in spots where you can showcase yourself, then why wouldn't you? So, but it's for the guys that are on that cusp that you really wish you could get back sooner than later. So, you could have them in your lineup and put them in situations and really get them reps and some opportunity. So, it's a huge help, obviously, getting those guys back with junior experience. Know how to play the game the right way, and most of the time help your roster immensely.
What did you see out of the Beaumont Blanton line, the Texan line, from the first shift out of the get-go on Friday?
Yeah, so I guess I don't know if Layne mentioned it when he was on, but we got to give Nico some credit.
He did mention that.
Yeah,
apparently drinking beers on Thursday night.
Yes, that is correct. Our staff meeting is what we'll call it. Nico brought up that idea of putting the two Texas boys together and watching what can happen, and there you go in front of us. The first, I believe, shift it was 2 shifts with them two on the ice together. They make a nice play and score one. So obviously nice to have 2 guys that you tendered have a connection, even though they played in different places last year. But obviously nice to have the connection with them and the chemistry from when they were in U16 and U18 to transfer over into the league.
I know that the Texan boys have not played in front of large crowds, so Aberdeen's going to be a wake-up call for them maybe. I know you did, and plenty of them, home crowds and visiting crowds. You loved playing on the road. Do you think that Aberdeen would be a place you'd love to play against?
Yeah, absolutely. It's can be a hectic environment. They have a pretty good fan base, and so obviously, if they fill the seats, it'll be an exciting atmosphere for sure. And I think that's the coolest part of junior hockey, and a lot of it is in our league. Not a lot of people have the fan bases that we do in Bismarck, like Minot does or like Aberdeen does. So it's definitely a cool place to play and to be able to showcase your stuff against some away fans. And when you score, you get to look up into the crowd and see the disappointment on all their faces. And at home, when you score a goal, you can feel how loud the VFW can get. So definitely think it may be an eye-opener for some of our new guys who haven't played junior hockey before or are used to playing in empty rinks. So it should be a cool experience for all those guys.
All right, that's coming up on Friday. Hunter Laslo, thanks so much.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, the Bobcat Coaches Show is done for this week. Tune in next week and every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Central Time for the Bobcat Coaches Show. And, of course, the Bobcats and Aberdeen Wings, Friday at 7:15, Saturday at 7:15, both games on Super Talk 1270. And don't forget, the Bobcats' home opener against Minot is Saturday, October 1st. Tickets are going on sale this week for individual game tickets for this game and every other game the Bobcats play from now until the end of April. All right, so long from the Tap-In Tavern. This has been the Bobcat Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270.